Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to look at an interesting little picture book, May Among the Stars. The author is Rhoda, and I'm going to mispronounce this last name, Hamed, and is illustrated by Stacia Burrington. So the author of this book is kind of interesting. This is her first children's book. She's actually a Norwegian author who's actually from Somalia. So this is her first children's book. And then the illustrator is a Japanese-American illustrator who's out of SeaTech, Washington. So it's an interesting, cute little book. This is a story about a young woman by the name of May. Now, she was a dreamer. I love the illustrations in this book. So she's Asian-American. She wants to become an astronaut. So she's looking up the skies. I want to see the Earth. And her parents tell her, of course, anything is possible if you work hard enough. So she went to the library with the mom, and she gets out all the books she can on astronomy and spaceflight. And she makes believe wanting to travel into space and to the moon and stuff like that. And her parents tell her, it's like, if you believe it and you work hard enough, you can do it. Her father got her a telescope, and they look up into the stars, and she imagines what could happen. You see her in her dreams. She's spaceflight, on into space. She's an astronaut. Then she tells anybody and everybody, this is what she wants to do. She wants to become an astronaut. She's going to go into space. And then she goes to school. And her teacher, when they're asked what they want to be when they grow up, as we have a tendency to ask young children, teacher pretty much tells her, well, why don't you just be a nurse? Girls don't go into space, essentially. They told her, it's like, you can't really do this. And being a nursing is a good profession for somebody like you, as was typical of the time. But she's like, I don't want to be a nurse. I want to be an astronaut. And she goes home and she's sad. And she tells her parents. And they're like, no, we're sorry your teacher didn't encourage you, but you can still do this if you work hard. And she followed her dream to go into space. And so that's what she's going to do. She's like, nope, I'm going to go into space. And her parents, I love the illustrations in here. They're very, very pretty. Very, very well done. And basically this is what she's going to end up doing. And then she did it. So you have her going into space. So this is a story very easily read by Dr. Mae Jemison. So it has the whole kind of story in the back. So Mae Carol Jemison was born on October 17th, 1956 in Decatur, Alabama. That might explain why the teacher's like, nah, you can't go into space. Mind you, she would have been in elementary school in the 60s. Again, yeah, not a good time for women. But she was highly educated. She graduated from Morgan Park High School in 1973 at the age of 16. She went to Stanford, earning a BA in Science and Chemical Engineering. In 1977, she got her medical degree at Cornell Medical College and actually worked as a general practitioner. She did work as a doctor. And then she did something that's very interesting and very dear to my heart. She joined the U.S. Peace Corps, and she went to Liberia and Sierra Leone. And she served as a medical officer there. So, and that would have been the still relatively early years of the U.S. Peace Corps. And then she still wanted to go into space. So she applied to NASA's astronaut training program on June 4th, 1987, was accepted, and she became the first African-American female astronaut. And then on September 12th, 1992, she traveled into space on the Space Shuttle Endeavour. So she became and she apparently was also on an episode of Star Trek Next Generation. So she now runs a foundation the Jameson Group and Dorothy Jameson Foundation for excellence. And apparently she also speaks Russian, Japanese, and Swahili. I'm guessing the Swahili came from the Peace Corps. So this is very interesting. It's a very short, very cute book. It's different from some of the other biography, similar children books that I've covered in the fact that it doesn't really go through her life. It sticks to that thing where she's just a dreamer and this is what I want to go to. I want to go into space and this is what I'm going to do. And then kind of just ends kind of abruptly with she eventually becomes an astronaut. So it's very different from a lot of the other biographical books, since this is definitely geared toward the much, much younger crowd. So this is early elementary book for the young kids to inspire. It's like, yes, if you work hard enough, you can achieve your dreams. I'm assuming there's possibly other children's books that are a bit more detailed in how she went about this. It does, again, have that biography in the back that explains at least kind of an outline of her career and what she did with it. So obviously she was very intelligent. She graduated from high school at 16. So, and went on to Stanford. So that's a kind of a big deal. So it's a very, very cute book. I love the illustrations. It's very, very simple. Again, definitely geared towards the early elementary preschool crowd is where this book would do. It's a great book if you're talking about space and women in space flight. It's a good introduction to start talking about those things. It's a good introduction to start talking about women of color in the science fields, which is always a good thing. This is not the first book I've covered on this. I did the whole bunch of the books on the, why on earth could I not? The women who actually worked for NASA early on. So her precursors, not the astronauts, but the mathematicians. So I did a whole bunch of books on with Dorothy Vaughan, Katherine Johnson, a couple of others. So, but those are of course much longer biographies and more focused on these women's careers. This is very much a simpler book and focused on encouraging children to work hard and follow their dreams no matter what they are told, including, in this case, a white teacher. But it makes a lot of sense considering she was born in '56 in Alabama, a black girl in Alabama, in the 50s and 60s, where she was growing up, and in the early 70s. She's black, she's female, she ended up becoming an astronaut. That's pretty amazing considering when she was born. So this is an amazing, cute little book. Great illustrations, great, very simple story. So it's a great introduction. So that's really it for this review. There's not much to do. This is a very short book. So if you like what you see, be sure to check out the rest of my channel. Like I said, I've covered a lot of women in color in science. As the mother of a daughter, I do cover a lot of the women in history books. So, like I said, I covered Dorothy Vaughan, Katherine Johnson, cannot remember the last name, Mary Jackson. Those were the three who were made a film, Hidden Figures. And I covered both the adult novel and the children's books and the film. So I've done all of that if you want to check out those reviews. I do plan to do quite a bit more. I do a variety of other books, teen books, children's books, lots of films, a mixture of travel stuff. I will be adding more and more homeschooling, secular homeschooling reviews on different things as my daughter gets older. So be sure to like and subscribe, check out what I've got, and look forward to more. Thank you.